Hey everyone, it's the Miserable Movie Man back once again with another video. So this one is going to be a little bit different. I'm actually going to count down this time, and I'm doing my top 5 movie twist endings. Now this is going to be a very controversial topic. I think many of you will have a number of opinions, but let me caveat a little bit and create a few ground rules. One, all of these movies are movies that I will have seen in the cinema myself. And I think that's a huge impact. When you see a film in the cinema and there's a twist there, it has way more of an impact on you than if you see a film at home, on a smaller screen without an audience experience, right? There are some incredible movie twists from before, and I will throw out a few of those, such as, most stuff that Hitchcock did, and other films that came before. But really what I'm going to focus on is films that I've seen in the cinema that had a pretty big twist or a shock at the end, and something that really made audiences sit back and go, wow.
Just get on with it.
Also, I think one of the things for my criteria, and you'll see these in some of the later entries, is I love films where the groundwork to the twist has been laid in the film earlier on, and you could maybe see it, or if you watch again a second or third time, watch really closely, you can see it. I think for me, those are better twists. I've always been a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. I love clues. So I have also rated films on those lines too. Now, before I get into all of these 5 films, I must warn you, there are spoilers up ahead for all these films. So if you haven't seen them, then don't watch now.
You don't say.
Go and check out the films, or at least get the title from my list. See the twist ending, and come back and let me know what you think. So, without further ado, let's get into the top 5 movie twist endings for me. So coming in at number 5 on the list is Brotherhood of the Wolf, which many of you may not have heard of, or even few of you have seen.
Never heard of it.
But it is an amazing film. Le Pacte des Loups. It's got an all-star cast. There's Vincent Cassel in it, Monica Bellucci, Marc Dacascos. It's really a French period piece, martial arts, horror drama in the Hound of the Baskervilles vein. And the twist maybe isn't really a twist as such, but it is so freaking cool that I have to include it on this list and try and get some further awareness of the film. Now, there's a series of murders that have gone on, and the main character, Chevalier, comes in with his trusty assistant, Manny, who is of Native American Indian origin, or Native American origin.
This is gonna take a while.
And he's a scientist, and he's been tasked with investigating these murders. And of course, Manny, being played by the incredible Marc Dacascos, is the one that does all the fighting. He is Chevalier's bodyguard. He kicks ass in a way that I'm not sure Native Americans could do, because he throws in a whole bunch of fighting styles in there. There's definitely some capoeira, some acrobatics. But it's really cool. So whenever Chevalier goes out investigating, Manny's by his side to help him and get him out of trouble. But then, later on in the film, Manny dies, and it's just Chevalier by himself. And you think, well, how is he going to deal with these folks? Because up to that point, he's just showed off his science and womanizing skills. And then it comes the twist.
The best scene in the whole show!
There's an amazing scene where you just see Chevalier in war paint, up in the rafters, dressed similarly to Manny, and he drops down and proceeds to unleash havoc. He wrecks people left, right, and center. I mean, this is a sequence of fighting and killing that is on par with anything.
Well, I'm John Wick.
And you just don't see it coming. There is no hint of Chevalier having any type of skill whatsoever. It's all Manny. So for me, that was such an amazing and shocking twist at the end of the film, because it's not telegraphed in any way. And then when you see him going through, taking people out, throwing axes, just butchering folks just to get, through his rage of his best friend dying, but also to get to the bottom of these grisly murders, you think to yourself, well, of course, it must make sense. He spent so much time with money that there is no way he couldn't have been trained, but you just don't see it coming. So for that reason, that kind of ending had a big impact on me when I watched it, and I still love that film to this day. Please check it out if you haven't seen it. Brotherhood of the Wolf, highly recommended. But that is number 5 for me. Coming in at number 4 is an indie film that did well enough to spawn 2 sequels. I think it's divided my friends at least. Some people love it, some people hate it. But coming in at number 4 is a small indie film called Cube.
Energon cubes.
Now, as I said, there were 2 sequels after it, which got progressively worse in my opinion. But the original is an amazing piece of human psychology and drama. And the basic premise is, 5 or 6 people are trapped in a cube, which is basically a death room, and they have to figure a way out. And every time they figure a way out, they get into another room. But obviously, these people were chosen for a reason. They've all got slightly different personalities. They find that they've all got slightly different skill sets. And they need to work together to get out, but their personalities clash, obviously, in the human drama element. And it's really well done. I mean, on top of that, this was a low-budget sort of sci-fi drama flick, and they really, really saved some money by having one set that they redressed however many times they escaped that room. But the twist, which was the really cool part, so spoilers ahead, if you haven't seen it, go watch it first. The twist, the really cool part, is that they go through room after room after room, and, people get taken out.
Tough cube, huh? Tough cube.
And finally, the room they get to escape from is the first room they were in. If they just stayed there, then they would have escaped. So I thought that was a really nice, neat twist. I really enjoyed watching that film. I thought it was a great use of psychological tension that ratcheted up, and the twist at the end was brilliant. So for me, Cube comes in at number 4. So coming in at number 3 on my list is an incredible film. In fact, I'd actually forgotten about this film until somebody reminded me, so thanks for that.
You forgot? You forgot?
But it's by one of my favorite directors, David Fincher, who I think is pretty incredible in almost everything he does. Really love Fincher as a director. And this film, I remember seeing it in the cinema, starting off with the sort of gloomy, rainy scenes and trying to enjoy and understand what was going on throughout the film. And that film is Seven, which not only has it got some incredible performances from the actors, I think it is Brad Pitt's best role. But the scene at the end, that twist at the end, the really smart way that they wrote the film in terms of actually Kevin Spacey is the villain winning, and Brad Pitt going, "What's in the box? What's in the box?"
Now see, that's acting.
I think that was a brilliant twist. Did I see it coming? I don't think I did. I think I'll be honest. I don't think I did. I had a suspicion, but no, I don't think I saw it coming. So wonderful twist at the end to not only shock the audiences, I mean, an absolute massive gut punch to them, but then the final element where the twist plays out and the final sin is revealed, because you're kind of going through the film going, right, I know the sins, these are the sins, and they just haven't done thou shalt not kill yet. How are they going to do that? What's that going to be about? Kevin Spacey's character seems too smart for that. So really great at the end, the way that they did that twist. Absolutely loved it. Coming in at number 2 is the M. Night Shyamalan, I can say it right because I'm Indian, not M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong as a lot of people call him.
That's racist.
film The Sixth Sense. Now, Shyamalan was an up-and-coming director at the time, and he was really trying to make a name for himself, and he's very smart when he writes. People may not agree with his recent films, but his early films were really, really good.
M. Night Shyamalan, The Village, Unbreakable, Sixth Sense.
And I think no one saw it coming. Okay, people came out of the cinema thinking, yes, we knew Bruce Willis was dead from the start. But the cool thing about The Sixth Sense, and also my number one film has a lot of this, there were clues in it. If you watch the film, there are little clues sprinkled throughout the whole film to give you the twist ending that Bruce Willis is dead.
A clue, a clue, a clue.
And some people picked up on those, some people like myself didn't. When that ending came out, I think even the people that saw it coming were still blown away by how well it was done, how well it was made, how it really hit you like a ton of bricks. And it was a masterpiece of cinema. Now, of course, Shyamalan tried to top that every time with his other films, and I like most of his early stuff. I loved Unbreakable. I love the twist at the end. I love that series. I thought, The Village wasn't as good. Lady in the Water was okay, but, he kept trying to top that twist, and I don't think he's ever done it. But he just keeps on trying. When it came out, The Sixth Sense was absolutely incredible, and that's number 2 on my list. So before we get to the number 1 on my list, I'm going to have to give you a few honourable mentions. And there were quite a few films that I didn't see in the cinema and watched on TV later on, but other films that I think have great twist endings are Planet of the Apes. Again, some people knew about it from reading the book or not, but the ending of Planet of the Apes, when he's on the beach and he sees the Statue of Liberty, that is absolute classic twist ending. Love that.
Get your paws off me, you dirty ape!
You have Psycho. I mentioned Hitchcock at the start. A lot of Hitchcock films have twist endings. Third Man, Vertigo, all of these things. Psycho, I think, is one of the more famous ones, and one of the ones that people really, really were amazed at when they see Norman Bates in his mother's clothes at the end. That was really cool.
Norman Bates is scarier than my mother-in-law.
Citizen Kane is another one that could be classed as a twist ending. People didn't know at the start what Rosebud meant, and by the end of the film it reveals the sled that perhaps he had his fondest memories as a child of. I mean, Citizen Kane is an amazing film. People say it's not worth the hype, but in my opinion it is, especially for the time it came out.
This track is my Citizen Kane.
Also, just, so I'm not Hollywood focused, Old Boy had a really great twist ending. I mean, if you watch that film and you see him progress through getting out and finding out what's going on and falling in love, and then the reveal of who the manipulator is, who the villain is, who his love interest is, that makes you kind of sick to your stomach in a way. It's such a big gut punch, but what an incredible twist that was, and I didn't see it in the cinema, so I will also say that Old Boy had a really cool twist ending.
Twist! Big twist!
Another honourable mention, and maybe this would have been in my list had I seen it in the cinema, but I was 4 when it came out, so I saw it at home on TV, is Empire Strikes Back. What an incredible twist that was. Now, I have to say, it's not really a twist. I will call it not much of a twist, because obviously in New Hope, everyone believed that Luke's father was murdered by Darth Vader, in terms of what Obi-Wan says, and then Lucas turns that on its head in Empire Strikes Back. And actually in Jedi, he pulls off what I thought was the biggest cop-out in history at the time, where he says, what he told Luke was true from a certain point of view. Now, I thought that is so weak. That is absolute weak sauce there. And for years as a kid, I thought, that's poor. Couldn't you've come up with something better? But as I'm much older and somewhat wiser now, I've come to appreciate that line that Lucas wrote. Everything we do in life depends on our point of view. Everything.
I suppose from your point of view, you're right.
So I thought that was pretty good. Maybe also Obi-Wan didn't want Luke to think that his father was the most evil person in the galaxy. The issue I have with Empire, other than the fact I didn't see it in the cinema, I saw it on TV. The issue I have in Empire is that I wasn't around when that hype came out. I wasn't around where people came out of the cinema going, WTF? So that was an amazing cinematic twist. And of course, you got to remember at the time, Lucas hadn't written in Vader as Luke's father. He had Anakin, and he had a story about Anakin, and then he switched Anakin to Luke and focused on Luke's story. But if you watch the deleted scenes from A New Hope, it's clear that, I'm pretty sure it's clear that at that time, Anakin wasn't Luke's father.
Because they made it up as they went along.
But then Lucas changed that, and you know, even on the filming of it, Mark Hamill was given the lines that Obi-Wan was your father. So nobody really knew apart from Lucas, Irvin Kershner, and James Earl Jones. That twist was amazing in the cinema, and for all intents and purposes, really hugely smashed it with audiences. And for me as a kid, when I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh. And of course, when I watched it, I actually didn't know that Vader was Luke's father. That was also a shocking line, because in those days, there was no internet. People didn't talk that much. My parents were not into sci-fi, so they didn't exactly go and watch many films. Information was much, much harder to come by. So it was a twist for me when I saw it, and I thought it was a pretty cool twist. Still is talked about to this day.
Just get on with it.
So those are my honourable mentions, and without any more procrastination, let's get on to my number one twist ending in film history for me. So, drum roll please. Number one, you probably could have guessed it. Number one is The Usual Suspects.
I knew it! I knew it!
What a film. Bryan Singer's magnum opus still to this day. He hasn't come close to it. But the real genius is in the screenplay. It was written by Christopher McQuarrie, who was a great writer and now a great director of his own. He works very closely with Tom Cruise on all the recent Mission Impossible films. But it was really, really nicely staged. There was so much mystery surrounding Kaiser Soze. There were, again, little hints peppered throughout the film to try and give the attentive viewer some sense as to what was going to happen.
A clue, a clue, a clue.
But the reveal at the end, that reveal is so incredibly well done that I think it's the best twist in cinema history, at least for me. Just as the camera pans around the office, as Kevin Spacey walks out as Verbal Kint and slowly starts to change his gait and his mannerisms, as the detective has that look of shock on his face and tries to run out after him. It's just brilliant. It's beautiful to watch. It's like an operatic piece of music. It just builds to an amazing climax and crescendo and unleashes the genius on you as a viewer.
Between you and Kaiser Soze, my head has turned.
I was thinking that, you'd be hard-pressed to find another twist as effectively done as this. Some of them were really just out of the blue. And for me, the best twists are the ones where you just, if you watch it again and pay really close attention, you can kind of see it coming. And so that's why number one best twist in cinema history for me is The Usual Suspects. Okay, that's a wrap on that video. My top 5 twist endings of all time. Let me know what you think. Did you agree? Did you disagree?
And I disagree.
You
Have you seen these films? What are your top 5 as well? Let me know in the comments below. As usual, please like, share, and subscribe to help support the channel, and I'll catch you next time.